Hi, I'm Drew at the Jeep Farm. I wanted to first thank you guys for watching this video, and I want to go over and show you our newest completed build, 1977 Jeep Cherokee with a Cummins R2.8 swap, 700 R4, Dana 300, custom paint, and more. So we'll start off and go over the paint. Obviously this was painted in my other company called the Paint Farm. This Jeep was originally jet set blue with a blue interior. The owner wanted to change the color scheme, so we went with 1E copper. We actually painted this Jeep more than once to try and get it to look as good as it does, but it looks fabulous. So it's just 1E copper and then glacier white roof, kind of to give it that 70s vibe that it rocks so well. So my client Dean reached out to me, and he had purchased this Jeep for I think $500 out of a junkyard. Actually a pretty clean little Jeep, 360, TH400 quadra-track, pretty typical 1977 stuff. He wanted to do something a little different, so we chose this Cummins R2.8 crate motor. You guys probably all know this. It's been around for quite a bit. So this was our first Cummins swap we've done on a Wagoneer or Cherokee or CJ. It took a little extra time to make this one really nice. He wanted it like really nice. So crate motor, Cummins R2.8. We hooked that to a built 700 R4. It's got Corvette servos and all that kind of good stuff in it. Then we hooked that to a Dana 300 out of a Jeep CJ and put a centered Dana 44 rear end out of a, I want to say a 89 Grand Wagoneer. Kept the 77 front 44. As you can see with this motor, we spent a lot of time. The intercooler tubes come in. We opened up the radiator support. Goes through the intercooler, pops out over there. The intake box, which you can see, the battery leads. So the Jeep has two small racing batteries that I use in an off-road race car that I have. So batteries are mounted underneath, batteries over there. The fuel filter in the pump in case you run it out of fuel, overflow, custom radiator shroud, brackets to mount this, that, and the other. Everything, there's a lot of work in this engine bay. Making the 700 R4 work, this was a drive-by-wire motor, so we converted it to drive-by throttle, or sorry, drive-by cable, because the 700 R4 needed a TV cable in order to shift correctly. It's got twin sticks on the 300. I was really worried in this build about the turbo and where it was going to be at, say, 75, 80 miles an hour. My biggest fear was the Jeep was going to kind of fall on its face and continue to try and upshift to bring the turbo back in, because without the turbo, it just doesn't make much power at all. So I was really pleasantly surprised with the 700 R4. We did 373 gears, front and rear track locks, and it just stays in the turbo band the whole time. It's amazing. This thing will run down the highway 90 miles an hour at a little under 2,000 RPM, and you get in it, it drops a gear, and it boogies. I was pleasantly surprised. I was really worried this just wasn't gonna have the oomph it needed. Around town, it gets up, it scoots, and we're thinking we're somewhere around 24 to 26 miles per gallon right now with the 700 R4, and overall, I'm just blown away. I was really worried. We do tons of LS conversions, and I was used to the LSs or the stock 360s, and I was just worried it was just gonna be a turd. And this motor really just shocked me. So it has just turned out to be an absolute pleasure to drive. I know I say that a lot, but you could drive this thing all day long, 90 miles an hour, and it doesn't even break a sweat. So the suspension's pretty basic. I like my Jeeps to stay Jeeps. You know, this is a 2.5-inch lift kit from BJ's Off-Road. It's the Devers. We did that. We did a set of Bilsteins, 31 1050s on the original wheels that came with the Jeep. We polished them. I do run an 1.5-inch wheel spacer because I think they look like roller skates sometimes. They're a little too tucked under. It kind of gives it a little beefier look. But again, keep it simple, stupid, and that's what we did. And it just rides and does what it needs to do. So as you can tell, we did a lot on the interior. He wanted something very custom. I like different. There's only so many stock Jeeps in the world you want to restore. We did add these handles. These are from BJ's Off-Road. We did go in, drill, and weld nuts in here so that they will not pull out. Stock steering column, we did add the overdrive indicator. The gauge clusters from Dakota Digital. The dash pad's been recovered. The AC's been restored. The owner selected the material. I think it turned out really well. We kind of mixed it up. The doors you can see have tan or like a brown. So brown, the plaid, and then we went with black and black carpet. I think it's a great mix. Black headliner. This is an old CJ Rugged Ridge center console. We modified it with cup holders straight from Cabela's, like for your pontoon boat, USB port. He wanted his gun mount, and there was a little cheesy sunglass holder here, so we pulled that out, put a plate in there, and gave him a nice sturdy mount. It actually goes through and mounts to the floor, so if he ganks his gun out real quick, it's not going to go anywhere. You can see the twin sticks for the Dana 300, retro audio radio, Bluetooth. In the glove box, you can see here, there is a gauge for the diesel motor. So this little programmer gauge, should you need more information, shows your EGTs, your boost, everything you need is all in that little gauge right there. Your OBD port for the motor, your USB for the radio, your shift pattern for the Dana 300. This is an original sticker we reproduced. So when you're driving and you need a little extra info on the Cummins motor, that's all in there. The owner wanted us to stitch matching pillows for the rear seat. We did that. We also made a custom spare tire carrier because we installed BJ's big 27-gallon aluminum tank with a diesel pump in it. He wanted a full-size spare. There's no good ones made for the full-size Jeep. I mean, there's some rickety old things that were made back in the 70s, so we made a big heavy-duty one to hold the tire, and she barely fits in there, but it does fit. Overall, a great place to sit. We did reinforce the seats. You guys that are familiar with these know that they can get weak and lean back too far, and that happened. So we tore the seat apart, welded some structure in the seat, put some bigger braces in there and a stronger hook. So the seat still flips forward, but it doesn't go back and lean too far back, which is what we were running into, and we run into with many restorations. Overall, just a great place to sit. Everything functions as it should. The AC's cold. We did add a backup camera rear view mirror. So this works as a standard rear view mirror, but also the camera runs 24/7, or when you're driving the vehicle. Very utilitarian in the back. Again, the owner flew into town when we finished the build. He took it for 3 or 4 days. He took it four-wheeling. He took it out in the desert. He's going to use this Jeep for what a Jeep is meant to be used for, and I'm thrilled with that. I think that's cool as hell. We got WeatherTech mats everywhere. You can see I buy this from a hot rod supply shop. I use mesh on all my speaker covers. We actually make our own brackets that mount in here, similar to the factory brackets, but hold a little bigger speaker. You can see our heavy duty tire mount we did. So that's not going anywhere. And the glass just barely clears, the seat barely clears, and it just barely clears the roof. But we wanted it up so he could put stuff under here. Overall, it's just a great Jeep. It's going to be used the way it was designed to be used. He's going to pull a trailer. You can see, I'll close this real quick. So we put a big class 2 receiver hitch, 7-pin plug, 4-pin plug. One of the things I forgot to mention was, obviously you can tell we polished the grill, and this customer wanted all the bumpers all re-chromed, and it really just makes it pop in the sun. Overall, I just wanted to thank you guys for watching the video and enjoying our build. I wanted to give a props out to one of my employees, Dakota. This was really his baby. He did the motor, he did the intercooler tubes, the transmission, he did all the hard work, and he just really knocked it out of the park. And the customer is overjoyed. Wanted to thank you guys for watching. Click and subscribe, send emails, anything you want. We're here to help you as much as we can. Thanks, guys.